some more on this. Let's bring in Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator Blackburn, as always, ma'am, welcome. What do you make of this incredible story? First, the pagers blow up, then the walkie-talkies blow up. Israel is definitely behind it. I mean, I don't know. Don't mess with Israel. But what are you thinking on this story?
Well, I think we should wait and find out for sure if the IDF is going to take responsibility for this. But what we do know is we're coming up on the anniversary of October 7th. And we know that Israel has the right to defend themselves and their people. We know that Iran is behind this funding of Hamas and Hezbollah, and that they continue to pour money into this. So I do also know, talking to those Israeli officials that we periodically will hear from, that they desperately want to get people back to their homes in the north. And bringing all of this attacks on Israel to an end is going to be an imperative. So we need to make certain they have what they need to defend themselves. It would be a good thing to rid the face of the earth of Hezbollah and Hamas.
Sure, they're terrorists. It's funny, I may have missed it. I don't hear Joe Biden saying that. I don't actually hear Vice President Kamala Harris saying that. What do you think?
I think that many times our current vice president has to read the teleprompter to figure out what she believes. And that is so unfortunate, because our policy as a nation, our foreign policy has been that we stand with Israel. They are our greatest ally in the Middle East, and they have stood with us. And we should continue that policy.
You know, I know you've been one of the leading spokespeople dealing with the Secret Service problems, I'll call it, and the second assassination attempt. Let me play you some tape from former DHS Secretary Chad Wolf, friend of ours. Here's what he said yesterday in an interview on our show. Take a listen, please, ma'am.
You don't even need the president to do this. You need the Secretary of DHS, right? All the Secret Service director has to do is to go to the Secretary and say, hey, here's what we need to do. We need to reallocate agents. We need to reallocate resources to President Trump's detail. And that could be done within the department.
Senator Blackburn, I didn't know that. I mean, according to Chad Wolf, the DHS Secretary could fix this and give President Trump full presidential protection. That is, if you can find Mr. Mayorkas. What do you think about this, and when can pressure be put on Mayorkas?
Well, pressure should be put on him. I sent a letter over to Director Rowe, Monday, calling for President Trump to have full presidential protection. He deserves that. He needs that. And we know from the sheriff at the press conference there at the golf course that the security provided President Trump right now is not what he had when he was president. Now, the way the budget works with these departments, the Secret Service, yes, is currently under DHS. I think we need to move it back to Treasury. But in the meantime, and to make certain that President Trump, President Biden, Vice President Harris have full protection, what they need to do is reallocate the resources. They need to allow Secret Service to have more drones, more dogs, and more personnel. They need to improve their planning processes and allocate people so that they are planning for any eventuality that could possibly occur. And right now, Larry, they are not doing that. For Director Rowe to say, well, we didn't have golf on the schedule. Anybody that knows Donald Trump knows that if it is a pretty Sunday and he is at Mar-a-Lago, he is going to be on the golf course, as he should be. And that is an opportunity that he has. And they should be out there defending that. They know there's a highway there. They know there is a chain link fence there. They know that there is a shrubbery that is there. And they also know that they have a no-fail mission. The Secret Service has 33 people that they are responsible for protecting. And they know it is a no-fail mission. So they need to get their act together. They need to prioritize this protection. They need to reallocate their assets. And they need to make certain that Donald Trump can continue to be a presidential candidate. And then after he wins this election, that he has the protection he needs as president of the United States.
All right. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Senator Marsha Blackburn.